Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Lakeville Open Space Committee meeting, Thursday, March 6th, 6 p.m. at the Lakeville Senior Center. LakeCAM is recording the meeting. Is anybody else recording? Nope. All 7 committee members are in attendance, and this meeting is called to order. First item, and I put this first in case we had some visitors that were interested in the Simmons Hill Rocky Woods Open Space Residential Development Plan update. So, and it looks like, and I don't know if that's why you're here, but hoping. Okay. Well, sometime in the last couple of meetings we had some that were here just for that. So I put that up first. But the only update on that is I did talk to the planning board, and they sent me an email saying that there's been no response from the developer to date, and at their meeting on February 27th, the planning board stated that they will not be moving forward with an OSRD for Simmons Hill for the Springtown meeting. There's no response from the developer, so there's no plan in hand to review. So given the timing, it won't be up at the spring meeting. So, and we don't know if there's any option to purchase the property, which they just no response yet. So we have to wait for the response. There'll be something, whether they're, but it won't make spring meeting. Any questions on Simmons Hill? That's all we've got. Next agenda item was to review and approve the January 2nd meeting minutes. And we did not have a meeting last month because of the icy road situation. But everybody has had plenty of time to review the January meeting minutes. Is there any discussion on those meeting minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes of January 2nd, 2025.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the January meeting minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda, item 4, just the committee and commission updates. And for the Assawamsett Pond Complex, they meet quarterly. So the only update is that the next meeting is next week, March 12th, which I believe is Wednesday. It's at 9 a.m. at the police station, and everybody is welcome to attend. I will, take notes and bring them back to our next monthly meeting to give an update on anything that's of major interest to the committee. So that's the APC and Conservation Commission. Devin, any update?
No.
No update today. Historical Commission, Brian or Joan?
Well, the most recent thing that's happened is there's a bathroom being installed at the old town hall, which is at the corner of Bedford Street and Precinct Street, and it will give us bathroom facilities for the handicap, which the building really needed.
Wonderful.
Very good. How old is that building?
1857.
Wow, that's historical. Yeah.
It's on the National Register of Historic Buildings.
Oh, that's good.
The only building in town on the register.
Really?
So that's being done through CPC funds?
Well, I don't know, the town
No,
is...
it's not.
No.
No, it's just town
Town,
funds.
you want to speak for it?
No, it's not being done with CPC funds.
Okay. All right. That's a good update. On the CPC, Community Preservation, Liz?
Well, David, you were there.
But you're our representative.
I am.
I may say a few words, but you can...
Yeah, well, I'm not, so on the 20th was a public meeting for the CPC. We had quite a few people in attendance. I personally think one of the biggest things that came out of that was simply trying to explain to folks who this is new to, that there isn't unlimited funds. There's X amount of funds, and there's 3 different missions that it's supposed to serve, and they all get 10%, and that it's really for the townspeople to step up to find a project that they think is worthy of one of these buckets of money, and to apply to either save a piece of open space or save a historical building or perhaps move some, 40B housing into perpetuity, et cetera. So the CPC committee can't do anything with the funds. They simply review applications and send it on to the state to see if the taxpayers' money can be put toward that purpose.
Yeah, I remember that. They made that very clear, that they don't initiate any projects.
Right.
The projects get submitted to them from other committees or town residents, and going through the two-phase process, preliminary, to see if it meets the requirements of using the CPA funds. And then if it does, then it goes on to a full application. But they review the applications and process them, but they don't initiate any. So that was made very clear.
Now, that said, you had a question about our brochure and
Yeah,
our
I
meeting.
did. Yeah, I brought up a couple questions there, and one was about, we're looking, and we're gonna discuss later, the neighborhood outreach program, which is based on the DCR model. And I did bring up, would CPC funds be used for neighborhood outreach or an informational flyer to educate town residents about the open space areas and the open space committee and their land conservation options, which is one of our stated goals of this committee, to do that. And the response I got back from CPC was that we could submit it in the fall, but they didn't feel that it would be covered by the criteria to be approved. That was a response. And
maybe-
it was a question.
Maybe, so the community preservation plan and all of it, the criteria that goes in the application is available online
Yeah.
on our website. And maybe we should all, have this, I didn't make copies of it.
No, so they handed them out at the meetings, I had
Yeah.
one, but it's online, it's on their
But maybe we should all
webpage.
look at it and see,
No, we should.
how it can-
I think it is questionable. I think, and we're gonna discuss it later when we get to the neighborhood outreach program. I have some
Right.
other information that will affect that, but it's definitely an option that we could submit, and I think there's an area in there that it would be covered.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. So
And it
I
also
think they
other
said
things.
that. Didn't they say that? I watched the
Did you?
meeting, yeah. I thought
Yeah.
they said that at the end.
No, they
Might be
they
an
felt that it
educational?
wouldn't. Yeah,
Well,
they
it was
said
the
felt it
whole,
wouldn't.
it was the whole brochure business and
Yeah.
trying to invite people like townspeople to a meeting that they
I think there's potential there, but I said I have another option that when we get to
Yeah,
that agenda item, we can,
Bring it.
we'll have a couple options. Let's see, the only other thing out of that open house that I got besides on our specific on the neighborhood outreach and the flyer was the, yes, what happens if, they have a timetable where you submit in the fall, and it goes through the process, gets approved, and goes to the town hall meeting in the spring or June to get approved. And then, well, what happens, land acquisition comes up in January, and they said, yeah, they make exceptions for things like that. If something is time sensitive and it can't fit that, you can still make a submission to get funds in, but it has to be a time sensitive issue, otherwise it's gonna be submitted in the fall if it's not. No, it was a very good informational meeting. Anything else, Liz?
no, really, that was the last thing, that was our meeting, the last meeting for the CPC, so.
Okay. Let's see, the 2025 open space plan status. The gentleman-
Okay, so it's come back from Serpent. They gave us all new maps, 2 maps that they hadn't done for us. They're redoing for us because one of them depended on information that was in the 2012 plan. We took it out, so they're redoing that map. I did the final letters with Tracy. We put 4 new maps in that weren't in it before. We chose a new color photo for the cover of cranberries being boomed up at Betty's Neck. And it's in the hands of Tracy.
So there were some significant updates there, but they're done now. So it's back to Tracy and then.
We're waiting for the last 2 maps Roberta put in, and then everything, we have everything that we need.
So does it actually come back to the whole committee?
It will come back to the committee. We'll review it, then it will go to the other boards,
Yeah. So,
hopefully within the next month.
yeah, so by our next meeting, we should
We should,
have.
we should hopefully have it in hand.
And how will that be done? Will we get notice by email that it's available?
I think you should probably email it to us, or I mean, I would rather have a copy in my hand, a physical copy. How would you like to get it?
Well,
Can
it's-
ask her.
It's like 250 pages or 300 pages. or-
It's 100 and some odd pages.
Yeah, I think,
Printed
I'm
copy.
okay electronic, because that's a lot of paper to add to your pile
But it's
of
easy to
paper.
read, so,
Yeah, I know, it's a lot, but I'm fine with electronic, I don't know what everyone else.
Yeah, I am too. I'd rather have it electronic.
you want email? You want
Yeah,
email
well,
to
it's
you?
quicker
Okay.
too than waiting
Yeah,
on.
I know nobody's gonna wanna
Them to
print it out,
print
but
it.
I prefer email.
Hardcover or
So
softcover?
if it comes out to us during the month, we'd all have a chance to review it
All right.
electronically, and if you want a paper copy, I'm sure she'd make you one. Does anybody else want a paper copy?
Oh, Brian,
Definitely
does.
Devaney,
Yeah.
all right.
Brian, you want a
Brian.
paper copy, right?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so that's 3 paper copies, everybody else is okay with
Oh, well,
that?
so I'll get in touch with Tracy.
And that way, if we get it during the month, we can all review it before our next meeting, the first week of April, and we'd be,
Right.
I would assume it's gotta be good, after everything that's gone into it and through it and the reviews, so.
Then then it will go to the other boards, they'll make their comments, if we have to change anything, we will. Like
So is
if
there-
the planning board has things we would like to add or change, or Concom, then we change it before it goes to the state to approve.
Right. Is there a formal sign-off that we do?
I don't think
Or
so.
we just send an
We
email
just-
back
We
to
just do that,
committee?
we add in what they ask us to add, take out what they ask, and then we send it to the state for approval.
Okay, so we just send an acknowledgement, the committee is reviewed and we're.
I mean, and if
we're
the open space
approval of all the
committee,
changes that have been
planning
made.
board,
And
Concom,
based
all can
on
make,
that-
all can make comments, historical
Okay.
commission. And
Does
then
it go to the Board of Selectmen too?
they go first, yeah.
Wow. They go first?
No,
before?
no, the same time.
Oh,
Yeah,
so they all
everybody,
see it at
everybody will
the-
get it, yeah. Once it's ready, everybody gets it.
And then they come back to us or they go back to Tracy?
Come back to us. With the comments, will come back to us.
Wow.
Then we'll see what they say. If we have to change anything, we change it. Then it goes to the state for final approval.
Are you us?
Am I what?
So who are they gonna send like if the planning board's like, well, you can't.
They'll send everything back to Tracy.
Then
Then
Tracy will communicate with
Tracy will,
you.
yeah, she'll communicate with me.
God bless you. All right. Okay.
So,
Okay.
going through all those, if we get it through us a month, it's probably 2 or 3 months till it finally gets released.
Oh, I hope not.
It sounds like it's gonna go through that
I
many
just
people.
wanted to, I just
I
so
know,
wanted to
I
be
know.
done.
I mean, we gotta keep changing the year on the title page.
Like, Brian, I'm getting old.
So hopefully I see 2 months anyways, I don't see it happening in 1 month, but that'd be nice.
We'll get it.
Pleasantly surprised, but when it does, then we'll have to, of course, update our webpage, swap out the plans.
It's a pretty thing.
Yeah. All right, well, it's good progress, thanks, Jim. Okay, and then the, item 6 was the Open Space Committee Town webpage update, which Joan did a great job with that, and I did take a look at it, and.
Anything you want added? We took off things that weren't pertinent anymore. Deb and I worked on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you
made
got
it
a
all-
lot of the newer detail, and so it covered, brought us up to date on the years there. The only thing I'd say, and I talked to Debbie about this, agenda and meeting minutes, I guess it's hard to keep up to date on that. Like if somebody goes to our webpage, what did we do last month? Yeah, and it's the same with a lot of other committee web pages. They tend to be several months behind. And is there, what is our prognosis on how?
Well, it's supposed to be every month, it should be able to, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
All right, but you're keeping on top of it, and I know with the,
It's a lot of committees.
with the meeting minutes, we're only 1 month behind, because it has November on there now.
What was that?
With the meeting minutes, we're only 1 month behind, because it has November, so it didn't have December, and January just got approved today.
Right, we're in good shape.
So that's only one behind there, and there will be no February, so that's a big help.
Yeah.
Agendas, we're back to September. And they're usually 1 page.
Okay. I'll put those up,
Okay. All right, thank
the
you.
agendas.
So, I mean, that's gonna be an ongoing thing with the agendas and meeting minutes, and thank you for taking that responsibility.
Yep.
And then, of course, there's always gonna be things changes, like when the OSB plan updates, we'll have to swap that out, and any personnel changes on the committee.
And when the plan's done, that will go up.
What was that?
The
Yeah.
plan will go up when it's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, so, I mean, so it's, you know, it's probably, you know, several changes a year, I would
Yeah.
think, or, you know, at least 2 or 3 a year maybe, but we'll just keep an eye on it, make sure we stay up to date as much as we can. All right. Anything else on the webpage? All right,
That's it.
so good progress. Next item, discussion and possible vote on a new committee vice chair. Bob had talked to me, he's getting a little busy, and would like to hand off the vice chair position.
To someone.
And you confirm that is the case, Bob?
That is
Don't
confirmed.
look at me.
Okay.
I
So,
do too.
is there,
I
is
suppose
there
it does.
anybody else on the committee that would like to take on the vice chair position? There's not a lot to do. If I'm not here, you would run the meeting as a backup. There might be an agenda or something. And, you know, I think historically, the committee has gone without a vice chair at times. Is that true? So are you officially stepping down as vice
I
chair?
am.
You're staying on the committee, though.
Oh, I'm gonna be here, yeah.
Oh, good, good.
And we have nobody that would like to take on
I'll do
this. All right.
I was trying to make her do it, she won't do it.
Hopefully,
busy right now.
Hopefully Kathy gets that in the meeting minutes. She's gonna, I guess, do that on tape because she's not here tonight.
Oh, all right, there we
But
go.
I'm gonna make a note of
You have
it
to vote on it,
myself.
though.
What's
You
that?
have to vote
Oh,
on it.
that's right, too. All right. Let's see. Does somebody want to bring up a motion to nominate?
I make a motion to nominate Liz as the new vice chair.
Second.
All right,
laugh.
all those in favor? All right.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
If somebody wasn't here, they would be the new vice chair.
No, that could happen. All right,
That's
Liz,
why I always need to
Liz,
show
thank
up.
you for that. It's usually not a whole.
No, I
lot there.
know, unless you can't make it.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
could happen,
And I
but
can wing that.
of course, I think I was set up when I became vice chair.
Yeah, don't,
Uh-oh.
I work for it, you can't
Yeah.
have 3 jobs and
Yeah.
do that too,
Yeah,
that's not kind to
No,
the
but-
group.
thank you, and we'll try and keep it easy.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, agenda item 8, discuss the creation and maintenance of property lists to monitor conservation status and opportunities and for possible outreach program. And we're looking at, chapter 61 lists, which we have last year's from October. We now have one from February of this year, which is gonna be annual. And I have did some analysis and have some, comments, observations on that. Also looking at conservation restrictions, and we did get a listing from the assessor's office on those as well. And hopefully they're accurate, but we'll talk about that. And then we should have a list of town-owned properties, state-owned properties. And of course, we're working off the properties over 5 acres to look at our outreach program. And the reason it's over 5 acres is because that's the minimum requirement to get into chapter 61. Of course, properties can be combined if they're small properties. Anyways, so those are the lists. And the first thing was on the chapter 61 list, which I lumped everything together. And now we've got that started, but when I did a comparison of the October 24 list to the new February 25 list, because updates were made in December, I came up with, there were 7 entries on the 24 list that were not on the 25. Because I'm specifically interested in is somebody pulling out of chapter 61, which could be an indicator that they're looking to make a change or sell a property. So we would want to be aware of that. And of course, 2 of those were a common owner, so it was really 6, and a common parcel actually had 2 entries. So there were 6 parcels, and I think they may have been errors of omission, because some of them, and I went to the assessor's office to have them check, and You know, of course, they work, it's a little light duty over there because, you know, it's contract and part-time. But Norm responded that he will get back to me next week. I gave him the parcel numbers, but like Ocean Spray, which I can't believe they're pulling out of Chapter 61.
Right.
That's, you know, over 200 acres there, but they were not on the 2025 list. So I think that's a omission error. It got missed when they generated the report. But Norm's gonna verify that. And then two others were the Wampanoag tribe.
Right.
Yeah, and I can't see that
Oh, that
they're
doesn't make
pulling
a
out
lot of
either, doesn't make.
And they
so-
just got that land very
Yeah,
recently, yeah.
So there were two parcels that they had. That's on, what street is that on? It's Pierce Ave?
Pierce Ave.
Pierce
And did they
Ave.
come out of chapter land because they were owned by Linda and Ken, and now they're owned by the Aquina?
I don't know.
So
But-
maybe that's what
Oh,
happened,
okay.
because the land transferred very recently.
Oh, okay.
And it was under chapter land, so
Yeah.
maybe those two are the same one.
All right. Well, anyways, we should get confirmation. I have a feeling they're both gonna be still in Chapter 61. And then, so there was Ocean Spray, Wampanoag, and then there's a, 1, 2, 3, you know, private owners that, you know, just, you know, smaller, like 27 acres, 14 acres, and 7 acres, that were in Chapter 61. So let's see if the assessors, see if they were just omitted in there.
Right.
If they're not, then we'll look at, you know, they're coming out of town. If they do go to sell, town has right of first refusal, and we can see if it's, if the town has any interest, if
Right.
that's what's happening. So right now, all we know is they were on last year's list, not on this year's list, but it could be an error. So that's one of the reasons we used the Chapter 61 list, is to monitor that. Right. Other than that, you know, it's good that, you know, and I'd like to talk to them more about how they generate the new list, because, I don't know, it seemed to be fairly random. It wasn't organized by map or parcel ID number, it wasn't organized by owner, it was just a random sheet, and, you know, it had most everything here, it was just missing those, and they said there was a few new ones, but, so I'll continue to work with the assessor's office to understand those 6 parcel IDs that dropped off, and to see how they generate the reports, so I make sure we get the maximum accuracy in the Chapter 61 report, which is going to be an annual report that we get.
So it's okay to go through this list, if you know some are already protected in perpetuity, take them out? With the next,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this?
Yeah, if you,
I mean,
if
these
if
20,
you
these
know, yeah, and
Right.
I'll keep a master
Yeah,
list
and
together.
it could just go on your
which
list
is-
and exit in your list, I was in there today, and then I said, maybe I should check first.
Well, then, you know, it's a copy that you have.
Yeah, so it has
And if you
Excel
you
spreadsheets.
can work right off of that file and send it back to me.
Okay,
And then if you highlight in some way where you made the changes, whether you do it in a different color or you highlight the box or something,
Okay.
so when I look at it, I can
and my X's
just.
were different than yours, so you'll be
Yeah.
able to find them that way. Yeah, okay,
Like even if you did it in a red font.
Okay,
text,
okay,
a red,
sure.
red color or something.
okay.
Or you can use track changes, that can get
Okay.
messy. No, just a different color.
Okay.
Send it to me, I'll put it in one common list, that's
All right.
the 5 acre plus list.
Will do.
So, but anything else on the Chapter 61 list? Okay. On the 5 acres or more list, I said, I did take it and I sent it out to everybody, so they have a chance to review it before the meeting. You know, we're looking at this to create a mailing list for an outreach program. And of course, anybody that's already in conservation restriction, I would think we could exclude, and if it's owned by the state or the town or a trust, conservation trust. Is that a fair
Well, we might
assumption?
want to talk about the ones owned by the town, because
Okay.
doesn't the town have the right to,
They do, that's right.
right? So.
But are we gonna send a
can
mailing
put
to the
Pressure
town?
to the town and
And
everything.
not all,
No, but it's
town-
a whole nother question.
and not all town properties are protected either.
No,
Right, that's
that's
what I
true.
mean, it's a whole nother,
No,
like,
that's true. I think
project.
yeah, I think it is another project. I think we need, once we get through this, you know, we just got the list and we're starting to analyze it. We should separate out a list of town-owned properties and what their
And see
status
which
is.
ones are protected and
Yeah.
which ones
Which ones
aren't.
protected, which ones aren't, and I think it's actually in our chart.
These are goals and objectives
Yeah,
in
it
the, in
is.
the, in the open
To,
space plan.
You know, to
Right.
keep an
That's
eye on
current,
town
absolutely.
properties, because you're right, they're not all protected. And, you know, the town can sell them, But I don't think we're gonna put them on an outreach project.
Oh, yeah.
But, we can exclude them from that, but I think we need to monitor those properties and understand
I
what,
agree.
what the town is doing with them. If they're being used for something, or they're in a conservation restriction,
Right.
that's, but if they're vacant land that's sitting there, they could put them, they could go up for sale, but it would have to go through a town meeting to be approved for sale, like they did last year, they sold,
All those bits.
Yeah, some
all those
small
odd
properties,
Little bits, yeah.
so, but that is, out of this, we do want to generate a town-owned property list, so it could be a page. Well, this is 5 acres or more, so actually we need the entire list, because there's probably smaller properties owned by the town as well. So maybe we could do, request a town properties list from the assessor's office. I think it's a separate report, because there are properties that are under 5 acres owned by the town, no?
There may be, but are they important to the Open
Mm,
Space
okay.
Committee?
No, probably not.
You know what I mean? I guess sometimes I get confused because they're like, okay, once we have the open space plan, there's a list in there that we created about priority spaces, right? The ones that we wanted, that we have decided or come to some conclusion that those are the important ones to save. I mean, and because we only meet once a month and we have so little resources focusing on what we said was the priority, I guess would be. The problem is those don't come up. It's like the farm, the pig farm on
Yeah.
whatchamacallit, that was a priority space, but somehow, and I'm not calling back to that, it's just that if things moved the way we thought they were supposed to, then we could have at least tried to have a conversation with the town about that piece of property.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of how this organization is coming in, because if we had been there,
Right, well,
well, I think somebody had to know about it. We didn't know about it.
no, I know. But, so with that priority list that we have, and then also I think that there's, and Joan, you just speak better about this because you've been on the committee longer, but we also talked about areas that could be connected to each other so that there'd be more wildlife corridors. I mean, saving, an acre and a half that's, just by itself, not connected to anything, isn't
No.
really
No, we
gonna be.
wouldn't be doing that, yeah.
The
So
wicked-
so you think, no need to look at anything less than 5 acres anyways?
Well, and so I say all of that, and then there's something, and I don't remember where I read this or saw it the other day, but I guess there's something afoot where if perhaps a piece of land is landlocked, and then someone who has the piece of land that brings it to the street sells that piece of land up against the street to the people who are landlocked, so now that they can come through and develop that land.
Yeah.
And so if this town had pieces of property up against the street that they owned, that were actually the reason why somebody's land was land, we might want to, in some ways, wonder and ask about that piece of property, because that's their whole,
Yeah, so,
so that's a whole nother other thing.
Yeah, and it takes some analysis of looking at the maps. Once you get your list together, look at them, what is the situation? Is there something potential like
There
that?
probably isn't anything like that, but then
Yeah,
again,
it
there
could be.
might be.
So, I
I
guess
mean,
for
at
now.
one point, we did have those big maps that we got from Mark Resnick that had when we were trying to connect all that land. You were on the
Yeah.
committee then, and we
Yeah.
have all those big maps that had
Yeah.
to try to make the wildlife corridor.
Yep, going down to Vigors,
Mm.
because there's a piece of land next to Elder's Pond that's owned by a gentleman who every once in a while says he wants to sell it. And if the town took that piece of land, or if Audubon or Conservation Commission had the CR on it or something like that, then it would literally, you could walk almost from Elder's Pond all the way to Vigors.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, we need to,
and that would
we
be
need
like
to
a cool
flag,
thing to be
we
able to
need to
do.
flag those. That's the other thing as far as, with this 5 acres or more list, say we focus on that for now anyways. And
Right,
forget,
yeah,
because
yeah.
there's enough here. We have the information on chapter 61 and we know some of the CRs, but the priority protection areas, when Serpent sets up that map, that has to be based on parcel numbers, right? So is that available in their map? I mean, you can do an overlay,
I
and
mean,
you can see
the-
kind of where it is, but
It's
Serpent-
not done by the map. It's not, I mean, it's on the map that we have, but it's not done by map. They probably did it by map themselves, but the maps that we got back don't have that on it. But the open space maps they have parcels parcels by who owns them, parcels by how they're protected, and those are new maps that we
Those are
have.
new maps that are in the
That are in the
2025
plan,
plan.
right.
That I haven't seen yet.
And also, we had the South Coast Rail Plan that you sent us a few months ago that had the priority protection areas that we should be focusing on.
Yeah, it didn't have parcel IDs, it had their own identification numbers too.
Yeah, they did. So, I mean, everybody has their own parcel protection
Yeah.
number.
But it didn't have the Lakeville parcel
It
ID
did not,
numbers.
it did not.
So what I'd like to do is get a list of the priority protection areas with Lakeville parcel ID numbers.
Alright.
So then you can cross-reference that to this 5 acres or more list and say those, highlight all those. If they're not in protection, those we definitely want to put in the outreach program. And I know we talked about if they're either in a protection area or, the next thing is, are they adjacent to a protection area?
Right.
Of course, that's gonna take going into the map, but if we can get a list, and if you look at the Serpent priority protection maps, they follow lines.
They do,
So
but they don't actually have the label numbers on
No,
them.
they don't have the numbers,
Exactly.
but they had to have used the parcels to
To
create the map.
get there.
So,
And I think probably the South Coast Rail, which is part of Serpent, probably use the same
Yeah.
maps too to get those.
so
those.
you're gonna take it on to see if you can get those from
Sure, I
from
just
them?
made a note.
Because that would be really valuable in our mailing list and just, monitoring priority protection area properties. So we need that one way or another. And Serpent should be, they had to use it, it's gotta be in there, in the data.
Right, I just made a note to check that out.
Okay. It's Lakeville parcel ID numbers, PPAs. Yeah, that's a big piece of information we're missing. We can guess at them. We can guess, you can easily guess some of them, but you get around the edges, and, it's a guess.
I mean, and not one map that we have has the town numbers on it, not one.
Right. So, and then the 2025 plan, all those maps, we won't, everybody doesn't have access to them until it gets released.
And I brought them all and gave them to everybody one night, so you should all really have them
Was
already.
that hard copy? Yeah.
The hard copies,
They were
Yeah,
big.
but you
It
can't
was big.
see parcel ID numbers or anything.
No,
no parcel ID
No,
numbers,
that's what I'm saying. You see a picture, and you know, kind of
Exactly.
over there.
exactly.
But
But no
if
parcel
we
ID
have the
numbers.
numbers, and I have Excel spreadsheets, then you can put it right into the analysis.
There's a
and
big
you're-
circle
you're-
here to
you're
get
done.
those numbers.
So this whole list, there's 476
Mm.
parcels, 5 acres or more in Lakeville, and I think I looked a few, so then we gotta decide on our mailing, which is, we'll discuss tonight too, how far we're gonna take this. But we do have to do the research and which are the priority areas to go after. I think prioritizing it by size gives us a good way to go through the analysis and pull out the ones we should. And I know in the other DCR sponsored outreach programs, the ones I read, they did 10 acres and above. Because there's so many, there's 476 here, 5, and I looked, there's only, if you take 10 acres and above on this list and take out the ones we know that are in conservation or, town-owned, state-owned, you're left with 192. So that's a manageable number to do a mailing, I think. I'm thinking but of course, there might be some duplicates in there, and there might be some that that, they shouldn't be there. So that number will go down a little bit, but if we find the priority protection areas, and even if they're a little less than 10, we can add them to the list. I think, what does everybody think is a manageable number for a mailing program?
Well, I can mail anything, because that's what I do for a
A
living.
1,000?
Yep, 10,000. I've done it.
Well, I mean, you got to print envelopes, we'd have to put a cover letter with
It's the
this.
costs.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
there's
the
costs, yeah.
lists. But, so the thing with the list, I know I played with it, and I did it by owner.
Right, yeah.
Because it was gonna be a mailing list, because that's how my brain works, so I'm like, people and addresses, But also, it was that if I'm an owner and I own 5 acres here, and this, I'm sincerely confused by any of the numbering systems. Because Joe Smith, which I'm making that up, can own 5 at 21
Right.
Jones Street, and then at 22 Jones Street, he owns 5.7. So that's 10 acres right next to each other. But if you only rely on
The map.
the column that says how many acres, then you would kick him out if you were looking for 10 or more, because you wouldn't be adding his 5 acres here and his 5 acres here. So that's why I went owner first. So then you also might do it on address, because you would see it's 21 Jones Street, 22 Jones Street, 23 Jones Street. 5 acres, 5.5 acres, 10 acres. And now you're actually talking about 20-something acres.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And then
one
if
person
you-
in one chunk of town.
Right.
Yeah, and if you're looking at mailing address, should be the same as the owner name, so.
Yeah, some of them. I mean, some
Yeah,
of them are also going
Yeah,
to be
then they'll have a
people
trust or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
Right, mailing
Yeah.
address and
All right, well, anyway, so there's more analysis to be done.
who. Yeah.
But yeah, so you can look at different sorting through owner or address, and some could be combined. And because a lot of parcels, they actually are subdivided within the parcel. So some are in chapter 61, part of the parcel is not, and so on.
Well, I wondered about that. And so, I mean, how are you finding that chapter 6? I kind of got lost trying to figure out how I could figure out what's chapter 61. So you were taking your other chapter 61 list.
Yeah, I
and you
took
were
the-
taking this one and you were cross-referencing.
Yeah, I took the chapter 61 list parcel ID number. Well, no, I mean, you got the list on the computer, I have that list.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I only
Okay.
did the first couple pages. so-
Yeah, but it was good. That was good
But,
though.
so, I mean, I didn't, if I had the whole thing in the computer, I could probably, and I was a computer wizard, I could probably.
So
do
that
it.
helps too though, because if you do it by owner, and then it takes all the town-owned properties and squishes them into one
Yep.
section.
Yeah, I think we need to look at it, like you created the page with by the owner, and, we can try and do it by address, and then look at what jumps out at you
Yeah.
as combining things. And if you're doing a mailing list, one owner has 6 properties, you're only sending one.
One,
That's right.
Yeah, to one.
Exactly, that too.
So there'll be some combining, so that when I say 192, when I say there's duplicates because it's the same owner, there are some of those in there. And we have to look at the priority protection areas and combined properties. So, and it's tough working remotely in committee, how to split this work up.
Terrible that we don't have better technology so we could all be looking at the spreadsheet at the
Yeah.
same time when we're all together.
Yeah, can we bring a computer here? Do we have Wi-Fi? That's what my question was the last time, I don't know.
Well, I think there's
I
Wi-Fi
think-
in the building. I
yeah, I
would
think
assume it's
technically
just
it's
having a
feasible.
screen you could use that was large enough so we could all be looking at it at the same time.
But then again, it's still time consuming to go through, and we all have all 7 of us staring at the
Right.
screen.
Well,
doing
no,
this.
yeah,
I
once
think
we
we
have-
gotta split it up and then consolidate the information.
Right.
The maps too, it would be nice if we could do it that way technologically, because we could all be looking at the maps at the same time, because this is a little hard for me if I can't see stuff, I'm a little visual.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, the police department has it. If you had for the last meeting, it was, they have TVs.
Right, the screens.
They have the screen, I think they're TVs,
Projection.
aren't they?
Oh,
Are they
I think
projecting or are they
I
TVs?
don't
If
know.
you have
I
your
think they're
video.
Maybe they have
TVs.
the ability to do
Yeah.
that.
Well, I said, yeah.
Maybe sometime in the
yeah,
future when we have a lot of information all at the same time, we'll
Well,
look at it
yeah,
together.
if you wanna come up with a proposal how to do it, that would be fine in your spare
Okay.
time, but
You got it.
I just, we don't want 7 of us sitting over a computer too, or we're all on our computers saying, hey, what do you got over there? So
Yeah,
I just, and there's not that much, like, say, another couple hours, I go through and put the chapter 61 stuff in there. Done. And if Joan gets the PPA parcel ID numbers, feeds them to me, I can do the same thing with that, It's just, cross-reference. I don't mind, I'm retired, so
I mean it like it's,
I'm not working.
every retired person I've met actually tells me they're busier than they
Well,
were when
yeah.
they were working, see, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you all retired? Is he retired too?
I believe so, I
Are you?
don't know.
I am retired.
I can find, hours here and there to do it, So, anyways, and I'll try and split it up as much as I can, but I think that's to try and get a mailing list together. I think a good discussion on the criteria and feed it to me through markups. John, you get that list of EPA numbers, and I'll put it into a central file that I'll send out to everybody. And then hopefully, next time we meet, we will have this fully populated with our criteria, which, you know, we put size in, and we're gonna look at consolidated size, priority protection areas, you know, and you can't rule out companies because they go into chapter 61, and anybody who's in chapter 61 could eventually go into a CR, you know, they have potential. So you can't, whether it's privately owned or a company.
Churches.
Yeah, can't rule out, yeah, in the church. They could take advantage, I don't know if they're in a chapter, but they could probably, might be able to take advantage of these programs as well. So, you know, there's only so much we can limit it, but I was impressed that with the biggest properties in town, half the page is pretty much either town or state-owned or under conservation.
And, yeah, Audubon owns a
Yeah.
bunch of them, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah. And Ocean Spray, I didn't even check off here, but I think they're still in there in chapter 61. And so, I mean, that whole first page is in good shape.
What is that?
And even the second page is looking pretty good. So anyways, if we can use that criteria, feed me any information you get. I think that's the best way we can do it right now. I'll consolidate it and send it out to everybody. And
So while we're all talking together, all these numbers on the left-hand side, thank you for having printed this, I'm sorry, Bob. Can you explain what those are?
oh yeah,
Can
yeah.
you define them
So
for me? Because,
the first one is the map number. If you recall, there's like 72. The town is a grid. It's broken up.
so that's this, the big map, right?
Yeah,
This?
the assessor's map.
That?
It's broken up, yeah,
Yep.
that one, and you see all the
Okay.
squares, and there's like 72 blocks, so.
Yeah.
The first one's that map number, so I get you
Okay.
to the block.
Okay.
And then, well, that square, because then the next thing is the block. Now, within that map, they've broken it into different blocks,
Okay.
and some of them jump around a little bit. And then the last, third
Right, I
number is the
remember
lot number.
Because I was gonna cry, because I was trying to. And then the last one is the lot
Lot
number?
number,
No, the
yeah.
lot number being,
So you could have multiple lots within a block on a map,
right.
and you're gonna have multiple blocks on a map.
And where does one see the lot numbers? Is,
That's the third
Last
column.
block and lot.
sorry?
It goes
On the map, where does
and
it get
then
numbers?
block,
It
and then
does.
lot.
Oh, it's on the map.
It is.
Yeah. If you zoom in on the map, on the assessor's map, you'll see like this first one
Okay.
for state-owned,
Right.
9009-002-005C. You zoom in, or you can put that into the search, it'll go right to it. You can zoom in, you can see the vision card, all the
directions I
data on it. Yeah, see how many
Remember
acres,
the
who owns
directions I
it.
sent? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's that, and I added the outreach status column, which we were talking about just now. And then, so we have a mailing list that has the owner's name, the parcel location, because that can be different from the mailing address. Then it has the owner's mailing address, street address, city, and state, zip code, and the number of acres on the right. And so in this one, I sorted largest to smallest of the 476 parcels that have 5 acres or more, and that's what this list is. So, once we narrow it down who we're gonna mail to, all the mailing information's here, and we've used our criteria to pick whether it's 200 or 250. I worry about getting too big of a number, and I think, well, I just, because a lot of envelope stuffing,
Yeah.
No,
that's
not a big
easy.
deal?
You know, the biggest
for that
cost
many.
for a
That's not-
mailing
No.
is the
Yeah.
and what
postage.
about printing envelopes?
Nope, that's not even that
Is
expensive.
that, so is that something like?
You wouldn't
get
even
done
print
as-
envelopes, you'd just buy plain white envelopes, you'd buy some labels.
It-
April
Well, I mean,
labels.
I'm not sure what size of the envelope is yet, because we're gonna be putting brochures in them, and we get the brochures free.
Mm-hmm.
From, I believe it's Mass Woods or, Wild Source, whoever gives us the brochure, I think it's Mass
Right.
Woods. They said they would supply them for the outreach program, so
Right.
they would ship us, we tell them we need 200 of them, or we need, I don't know if 1,000 sounds like a lot. But what we think is reasonable to do, so you're saying that, say we got these big envelopes and we're gonna buy, say, just pick a number, 250 mailings we're gonna do.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right
Labels.
now.
Okay.
Why do you need big envelopes? If they printed something that fits
It's a-
into a number 10 envelope, then we just
It's a
allow.
brochure, I don't know the
the
size of the
We
brochure.
don't know. that's, he's just saying we don't know, but so
I'm
she's
not-
gonna use labels.
Yeah.
She's gonna put the addresses on a label.
Ah,
And even the
okay.
return address on the label, and you
Okay.
just
All
stick
right,
them
so we
like this,
can
you go like
definitely
that.
with volunteer
We use
labor.
glue
do-
stick, by the way.
yeah.
And then.
All right, so whatever the
Labels.
envelopes are, we can buy at Staples or something,
Yeah,
right?
cheap.
And then we use our
Or lock.
volunteer committee labor to put these, you would,
Yeah.
and when you print the labels at Staples
Yeah,
too?
but at home,
There are 1,000 of them.
we're not gonna do 1,000.
Oh, I know, you wanted 1,000, but,
I do 1,000.
so I'm thinking more like 250, but you know, if
Yeah,
it makes
but
sense.
it's
we
really
can do more.
doable, we could do it in a,
Okay. So would that be at home printing for labels or
well,
Staples?
yeah, cause
You
I won't
buy-
print all this paper, but I'll print some labels for
Yeah.
some.
All right, so that's something, so, because we are gonna have to estimate costs for this, because the other thing I was gonna bring up was, the CPC said that we may not be eligible for funds there. I talked to the town administrator, and he supports the program,
Right.
and he recommended, it would have to go through a warrant, town meeting to get approved, but he would, he said he would help me write the warrant, to go do an educational outreach program, including the flyers and all that, and and he recommended, put a cost of $2,000 he thought was reasonable. That, there's a lot of printing costs, and if we can do it for less, you know, think it's enough?
Never gonna be anywhere near $2,000.
Well, let's say, he said to be safe, because you don't want to not get enough.
Yeah,
You know, you return what you don't use.
but we're getting free brochures though, okay, I'm sorry.
Well, I
just-
mean, you got the mailing costs, I don't
The
know how big these
postage could
mailings
be,
are.
would be the most expensive part.
And then don't forget, there's an invitation to a presentation.
Right,
That's,
We do get a free speaker to come in or two.
right,
but we have,
And I think we get a free, well, we should have a free town venue, but usually you provide light refreshments.
Right.
Yeah.
Soda, coffee, cookie trays or something. So there's some refreshment expense, there's the mailing expense, which has gone up quite a
That
bit.
could be, yeah.
There's the envelopes, there'll be a cover letter, which, we'll generate, print up for sending 250, you gotta print out 250 of these cover letters to go with it, that are explaining what the brochure and the invitation to the informational presentation.
Yeah.
So we have to put all those costs together, but one thing is that, town administrator is in support, it matches what our goals are as a town committee to educate the town residents in their in land conservation options that they have, and by putting the informational flyer in the same warrant, that educates the town about this is our goal, this is the committee, and we're putting a list of the major open spaces and what their attractions are in there. So, and we would just have those at the town hall, the senior center, the library, wherever it makes sense to have them, and like at the arts festival, people can pick them up, and then they'll see, the 8 or so different major open spaces that have, these amenities, whether it's hiking trails or other recreational activities. And so somebody can pick up that brochure, they got it at home, a lot of people aren't aware where they are, and it has what street they're on, and, you can always go online and get more information, but, it's very informational for the town residents to use the open spaces that we have, and also for those landowners, what their, conservation options are, so.
so that would be printed in color, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you'd
so
have
that
to.
would be.
four color double sided.
Yeah,
Yeah, and how many of those would you be thinking we'd need?
I don't know, I was
Another
talking about,
250 or
Yeah.
so, or?
I was just thinking
Yeah,
about the
I would
outreach,
say.
I wasn't thinking
So-
about the informational brochure.
So anyway, so we need to get some cost estimates. We've got, if we're gonna do a warrant for this town meeting, it has to be submitted by April 14th. Our next meeting is April 3rd, so by April 3rd, I would like to get cost estimates together. We don't have to have our mailing list all locked down. You keep it moving along, because, the money should get approved in June, and maybe we do a mailing late summer, because everybody's away for the summer anyways, and do the presentation in the fall,
Yeah.
when people are back from vacations. So that's the time schedule I think would make sense.
when would when would we get the brochure? So we know what we're looking
Yeah,
at
I'm
for
gonna
envelopes?
contact Mass Woods
Okay.
next week and I want to have a long discussion with him, get guidance on the whole program.
Yeah.
And that's why I really need a feel for what quantity we're talking about. And I'll see what he says they normally do, because he's done a number of these programs. And I don't know if anybody watched Masswood's last webinar, but I did send that information.
Yeah, it was blocked where I tried to
Oh, it was
watch it.
blocked.
Yeah, so I
Well,
wanted to.
I did watch it, it was very informative. There's
I'm
another
going
one
to,
coming up the end of
yeah.
this month, and there's another one next month.
Yeah,
But anyway, so I have his contact information, and here's everybody does, I send it in the email with
yeah.
all their links.
yeah, it was great, thank you.
But I will reach out to him in the next few days and tell him what we're planning, and I'd like to get a phone conversation with him, because it's a lot easier than back and forth emails. So what does the committee think is a good quantity for an outreach?
So I think I'm confused. I think I missed something. Are we gonna have our informational brochure that she's been working on?
Yeah, we're gonna
available
combine them into one
She
warrant,
can
is
bring
the
it.
plan.
into one brochure?
Warrant. No,
Into one warrant?
yeah.
Okay.
The brochures are from Mass Woods that explain the different,
Because those are free.
yeah, they said they would
Okay.
provide them free there, and I think there's a lot of information to them, so I don't think
Right.
they're little things.
Okay.
I mean, there's a bit to them.
Yeah,
That's why I'm not sure what the mailing cost is.
right.
And
Okay.
I think what he's done in the past, I said, well, what kind of quantities have you, and I'm thinking it's like 200, 250 on a mailing, but I'll see what he says. If he says, 500 is no problem, and I'll ask him what they weigh.
Yeah.
And I guess you can
It's
even,
expensive.
right now, you can
Yeah.
request a sample one right now, just to look at it.
Right.
But you can see them online as well, and if he tells me what they weigh, I don't really need a sample. If he gives me a weight on it, then we just figure the weight of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper for the cover letter, and whatever size envelope we need, and I weigh that, if it's one
Okay,
brochure.
so we're not trying to put this into. the
No,
envelope.
no, those
This
will be
is just,
separate.
this is separate.
Yeah,
Okay.
those would be separate, those would, I said, be posted, the town hall, for people to pick up, hand out at, the arts festival, so people, know what we're doing and what the open space, opportunities
yeah.
are for them to
Yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah.
So, Andrew said, go with, I said 1,000, probably be enough, but you can't buy a lot with 1,000, especially into mailing and color printing.
Yeah.
So I think he's right with put 2,000, if there's any left over, we just return it.
Okay, okay,
But it has to get approved at the town hall meeting.
okay.
So what I'll do is for the next meeting, has anybody written a warrant for a town hall meeting? No. And I'll look at some samples. Andrew said he would help me format it, because, I hadn't written one before. I'll look at some samples online, I'll draft one up, I'll bring it to our next meeting, which is April 3rd. If, take everybody's inputs on it, and then we can touch it up, and then I'll go see Andrew with it. He said he would do a final format on it, so that it would, be good for town hall warrant. So that would be the funding part of it, and so we need cost estimates. So Lynn, you're gonna get the color copies. So quantities, we gotta agree on what makes sense for quantity. So on the informational flyer, what's everybody thinking would be good? These are handouts, not part of the outreach program, but just combined in the warrant.
So what do you think about the festival? I mean, how many people there, but, not everybody's town people that come to those.
No,
see
not
that.
everybody's gonna pick it
Well,
up.
even people out of town still come to
Right,
Lakeville
Right.
Recreational areas.
right, right,
So
so,
the outreach program, we're gonna go to Lakeville residents. These, surrounding towns are definitely welcome to come using.
I think you like the number 250.
I do, it keeps coming to
I'm
my
gonna
mind.
play
I
that
don't know what
number
everybody else thinks.
No, 250 is good, and
Well,
there's
you know what-
price breaks at
Yeah,
different
yeah, well,
at printers.
Yeah, so
There's-
if you can get, have them quote number of quantities,
Yeah.
like 250, 500.
Right.
But I think 250 gives you enough, you're gonna have some stock to work with, even if you get 3 years worth or something,
Yeah, I'll go to a printer that we use at work.
Okay, and, have them quote, 250, 500, I don't think we're any more than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
okay.
And I don't think any
You
less
also
than
don't, if
250.
things change and you wanna update it, you don't wanna have a whole
Too many,
mess of
yeah.
hanging around.
Yeah,
I didn't put the,
that's why I was,
no, I didn't put the members on it.
No, don't do that.
No,
that's why I didn't
I
want,
put your phone number.
Oh.
Yeah, thanks.
Lynn, that was one thing, like you
I
said,
know.
you don't wanna date them that much, and I can give you this, but on this part here where
Yeah.
it did have, and this was taken from our webpage,
Yeah,
which can be updated any time.
Right.
But it says, "The work of the Open Space Committee is focused on the preservation of open space, cultural and natural resources," and it says, "and updating the 2012 Lakeville Open Space and Recreation Plan." So I would change that, and I'll give you this, but
I did redo it, yeah. He's the only one. I was-
instead of updating the 2012 plan, just say responsible for these resources and keeping the Lakeville Open Space and Recreation Plan up to date.
Right.
So then you're not, and of course, 212, this is 12 years ago, 13
I
years
know,
ago now,
okay,
too. So
yeah,
it's
a
like-
lot of it.
And then the only other thing, there was just on the Clear Pond Park,
Yeah.
it says horseshoe, and it's not a lot of fun playing with one horseshoe, so it should be horseshoes. You know,
It was typo, it was typo.
Yeah,
when I
I'm
did
sure it is.
When I did horseshoes, it came off, so.
I haven't seen that.
Horseshoe. Play horseshoe?
I don't have the most recent.
No, I sent it
But
to you.
yeah,
I
that was
wasn't gonna be
a
able to
very
come
good
last
list
week.
on all the
Right.
parks, it gives the street
I
they're
just
at,
wanna,
and-
I just wanna
Yes.
take what you said initially.
Perfect.
Yeah, either, you can
Okay.
keep that, 'cause you're gonna
Horseshoe,
send it.
anything else?
Yeah, it was just those two things, is the only thing I saw,
Okay.
one
Okay.
to get the
Okay.
date out of there.
Oh, all right, you did it, okay.
Yeah.
Horseshoes.
At Clear Pond, but we also have horseshoes
We have so much there, though, it was hard, oh, yes, oh, and it does say horseshoes there. Okay, perfect.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yay.
Finally.
Did those come all right to you when I sent them?
Yes, I have it here, that's the only thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And does anybody else have any other inputs on the flyer?
No, I mean, you guys, we haven't seen it.
I mean, I couldn't put everything.
No, you couldn't, you had to
Did you-
pick and choose, yeah.
Yeah, there's
You
no way.
could- there was no way.
I mean, I couldn't put snowshoe on it,
Absolutely
everything,
not.
it was like a lot.
Absolutely not, but I wanted you to know what you could
Yeah, I
choose
did.
from.
Yeah, no,
Didn't
yeah.
you handed out copies or emailed to everybody, didn't you?
No, I only emailed it to you because I wasn't going to be at that meeting, so I
Oh, last month,
apologize. Yeah,
yeah.
so I'll just fix it and I'll
Oh, yeah,
email it to
then there was no
everybody.
meeting last month.
Yeah,
So can you kind of fix it and then email it to
Everybody,
everybody?
yes, I will.
So if there's any last month inputs, and then go ahead and, quote 250 or 500, or ask them where the
Okay.
price breaks are, but usually they're in round numbers like that.
yeah, no, yeah,
May I
exactly,
make
I'll do that.
one right while we're talking? Any chance we can change this picture to something a little more?
Because if it's in black and white, you won't know what it is.
We're gonna have color.
Well, yeah, you have to go color. otherwise
Only
not
because
gonna
it's
see it.
grass, it's like people's lawns, as opposed to.
Green space and fresh air. I don't know, I like that picture.
Very
I can
green.
change it.
I
What,
like,
change
didn't say
it?
I don't like green,
Change
but
it?
I'm just,
I don't see why, I mean,
well.
I-
so you
I
have
like
one-
green,
You want
because it's green
something specific?
space.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
my one thing that I was thinking was it would be good if you had more pictures of actually the open spaces. So you
well, I
have,
don't have those, those are all I took from the
so
website.
one would probably like have pictures of open spaces in town as opposed
So
to,
you could just,
as opposed to stock
River.
photos. Sorry?
Is it online? Cause I don't
You
have,
could probably get a picture of the Nemasket online.
so.
River that's running through town.
So that's why it has all these asterisks, because I took a lot of the stuff from the website. And that's what's in our rules,
yeah,
that
you
we have
do have
to.
the map of the Assawamsett.
Right, that was
I think,
from the
with a
website,
picture.
too.
Yeah, that's cool,
So,
because it's,
and then
what we're talking about.
if you take a picture of Betty's neck, you can get some water and trees
It-
anyways, right?
Isn't that here?
that looks like Betty's
That's
neck.
Betty's neck.
Or,
Alright,
I don't know.
so,
Or, well, just
I don't
because,
know, I
it's
like
supposed to be specifically
vegetables.
Lakeville
well,
open space.
if you have any photo suggestions, you could send them to Lynn.
Well, the photographs that a couple people, Kathy Wing and Mike, can't remember his last name, take of wildlife in Lakeville that they're always posting on.
I'm not on Facebook,
Okay.
sorry.
Well, so anyway, we have a couple of great
Well-
nature photographers in town.
Liz, if you're aware of any.
I could do a
photos you think would be
sunset
good,
all along pond, I have lots of those.
And that's a beautiful thing. Why don't you use one?
Okay, I'll do that.
Well, send,
But it's open
send
space,
any
that's
good photos
pond,
to-
it's
to
not,
Lynn.
you know.
Send any good photos to Lynn, that might.
Yeah,
might be
and
improvement.
it'll be up to you which ones you want to put in. But yeah, I was just sort of like, this looks like, so this is stock photography, that's all.
It is
It looked like
stock.
something you, it looked like a placeholder.
It is
Like you were
stock.
waiting for
Well,
someone
so
to
is
photo.
this, no, I just, It's open space, it's green.
Yeah, I think green is a good color. But,
Yeah.
So, and if anybody else that didn't get to see the latest version, just send it to everybody, send any inputs to Lynn. We got time, do another round. Just get a cost estimate for now, get more inputs, or then we can look at another iteration next meeting.
Sorry.
We can look at it, yeah.
Justified?
It's beautiful.
Justified.
You think? I didn't
Yeah.
like it like that, but I'll try it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, one other thing back on the,
okay.
chapter
Justified.
61, the 10-year agreements.
It's called on your.
Do you know how we find out when they expire?
But
No.
it's, I don't know.
I was gonna, I put
sounds
I mean,
too
that's something we should have already, we should always have been following, and we never have.
Yeah, because it's not in the vision property cards. So I did give that question to the assessor's office, and that's, when he replies to me next week, I did ask that question.
And that's something
email.
we've always said we were gonna monitor, and we never have.
Yeah, and I don't see it available, but it's gotta be. How many 10-year agreements do you think there are in Lakeville? Are we talking like 20, 30?
Oh, more than that.
More than
Start
that?
way.
40,
Let's see,
50?
I put this
Maybe
stuff in
50?
here.
Yeah, it could be 50
I
of
would
them.
like to leave.
So,
that because
and they
that's
all have
61.
expiration dates, they're 10 years,
I mean, they won't be the same year, obviously.
No,
I mean,
no,
chapter-
61
that's chapter
As and Bs are all annual, it was a
Agricultural?
1 year, so, and now it's a December 1st reapplication. But CRs or chapter 61s are the
That's
10-year
why-
agreement.
That was my thought about it?
You don't know?
Yeah. So,
That's why it's possible maybe Ocean Spray ran out a 10-year agreement and didn't renew.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That could be.
I didn't write some.
Wanna go find
All
it?
right, I can change it all, I don't even, whatever.
Anyway, we'll find out. But I asked that question in the sessions, I didn't know if anybody else knew how to find that information. But I haven't found it yet.
Where is it then?
I know this is our major topic tonight.
Yes, I used to have the list of how many properties there were, but I didn't bring that folder tonight.
Do you know, where she is?
Yeah, she does all
All right, so
Must be- I
when
can
we
look
talked,
at all
the flyer, we got a number on, as far as the mailing, does everybody think
250 sounds
250
fair.
and rough number? And we can
250,
adjust it up or down depending
Well,
on,
'cause I-
when we get through with the
And
list,
print
with the
this, right?
priority protection areas and all that.
We might have other places you want to distribute them. You can also put those at the, the extra brochures, if they're extra, you can put them at
Well-
town hall so people
Yeah,
can pick
yeah,
them up.
and the other thing I think we should do, and we're gonna look at costs, is, even though we're doing a targeted mailing for the outreach program, we should open it to the whole town.
Yeah, that's
For the
true, too.
presentation, so we should
Yes.
print up some bulletins that would be posted at the town hall, the library, around town, and also put it in the Mascot News that on October 27th, or whatever the date's gonna be, at 7 PM on a.
At the library. or
And, oh yeah,
wherever.
and that was the other thing, what is the best venue? We don't know how many people, but
I don't
The
know.
library is nice.
is the library really good, or the,
Yeah, they have
but what about
lighting and-
refreshments there? I don't think they allow refreshments.
Oh, in that
What
room.
about the old town hall, would that work? I mean, they do the voting there.
The old town hall?
Yeah.
They do the early voting there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, not the old town. Acoustics are really bad at the old town hall.
Oh, well, not too, I'm not, any day, but I mean, what
Go to the
would,
bathroom.
Yeah, it's a bathroom.
what would be the best venue? I don't know how many, we might only get, between the
Yeah.
presenters and ourselves, and, if you get a handful of people, you only have like 25 people, but you could get 100 or two. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
don't think
could.
you get 200, but you could.
Well, she
'Cause-
suggested Ted Williams Camp. The only problem
Oh.
is they charge for Ted
Oh, yeah,
Williams
yeah.
Camp.
Loon
Is
Pond,
it the
yeah.
town?
£1.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it
we're gonna have
town?
someone to
It's
present a
complicated.
program.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if they need
serious.
AV, then it would have to be someplace that has AV.
They might bring it.
Yeah.
Because they do this, and I'll ask those questions. Because I don't know what somebody from Wildlands Trust.
We
or
haven't had a
something
lot,
comes
we
in.
haven't had a lot of luck here. When we've tried to had programs for Historical Society,
Yeah.
nobody seems to be able to hook up to this
Here?
screen
Yeah,
Here?
this building.
here.
Oh, I didn't know
It's
that.
kind of
We've had a lot of
challenging.
trouble,
I
haven't we?
didn't know that.
With people trying to hook up their programs to this audio system
In here.
in here.
Yes, yeah.
Nobody seems to be able to get it.
Well, was it codes or something?
I don't know, because the woman who came here last week had already come to talk to them at the COA, and when she came with a program, she couldn't show it.
So, I mean, you're pretty familiar with all the town-owned venues, what, you know,
Yeah,
looking at what
The
we're trying to do.
the library,
Okay, library.
because
Now,
that's the big room.
Okay, so they would have the good
they
audio
have a-
visual, but they don't allow food in there, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we wouldn't, you know, it doesn't have
Well,
to have
actually, I think they do
refreshments.
in the
I-
gallery
I
room.
think you can bring water.
Mm.
I have to find out. But I know these things, they usually,
And
Can
when I
we
know
use a
when they
church?
have-
What about United Church of Christ? I don't go there anymore.
well, we have to come up
What
with a
about the
place
Lions?
to have this. It's not very big.
Not very big. I mean, we get 20 people in there every week and
Oh, you
there's
do?
probably room for
Really?
twice as many
Really?
comfortably, yeah.
Wow,
it's a-
okay.
That used to be a house?
It used to be a house, yeah.
it's not.
Mm.
I took the walls down inside so that the
Really?
living room is part of the dining room, it's all one
all
room.
one big-
The kitchen,
So,
so the main floor is all one floor.
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's not that big of a space inside, and you think the old town hall, you know, it seemed a little more
If
spacious.
we
but
got
you
a
don't think
count,
that
we
would be
needed
good?
a place,
Oh,
it's
you
free.
don't think there's
Yeah.
audio visual, there's no audio visual?
When is
There-
when are we
there-
planning
there's
this? For
Not
September?
really any chairs at the old town hall either.
Autumn is all in. Ouch.
Yeah,
Busy time of
what if
year.
we get like 200 people come to us, what are we gonna do?
Well, you know what, maybe
We should be that lucky,
Yeah,
right?
I know, It's-
do you wanna take our SVPs? So you have half an idea, because we don't have to necessarily decide if we're gonna get
Yeah.
10 people, we'll do it at the Lions Club. If we're gonna get
Well, I
100
know,
people,
yeah.
we'll say that,
But I think we have
The
to have our
refreshments are in the
options lined
hallway.
up, so depending on what the response we get is. I would think, you know, our RSVP means you respond whether you're going or not. A lot of people don't bother, so I would maybe just say in the cover letter to respond if you're interested in attending a meeting and,
I
you know,
mean, another thing to wonder, if it's sponsored by the Open Space Committee, it probably has to be in a town building. Because it's
makes
being,
a lot of sense, doesn't
because
it?
it's the Open Space
no,
Committee
yeah, you're right.
hosting a program.
okay. So how many people do you think you put in the library?
In the library,
Yeah.
a lot. They had the gallery room.
Yeah,
Yeah, quite a
It's a
few.
big room.
I don't
like
know, counted.
100 or?
I mean, the biggest meetings I've been to in town have either been at the high school or in that
I
library.
was gonna say, in high school.
I think in the room with the gallery.
Okay, so
Well,
the
For the high school or the
so
middle
the
school?
high school would even be an option?
I have
If we had.
no idea.
I don't know why
That's like an auditorium, though.
So
That's kinda,
who approves the, say, the Open Space Committee having a, you know, presentation meeting?
I think you have to talk to, I don't know if it's Tracy again, but it's somebody at town hall.
All right, let's start with
Isn't the
Tracy.
select board
Yeah,
probably?
Let's start with Tracy. I think we have to know what our options are, and we would look in our cover letter asking for a response, but I think, you know, please let us know if you're gonna attend. I think RSVP, a lot of the people just throw that out, you know, because they're not gonna bother to say, no, I'm not coming.
Yeah, that's right.
But, you know, respond if you're interested in coming.
Because
and
then at least
attending.
we'd have a half an hour. Plus, if you're gonna buy refreshments, you kinda need a
Yeah,
couple.
well, and if we're
half
going,
an
yeah,
idea
so there's a lot of
somewhere.
questions to be answered, because if we're going to the library, I don't think you
No
can have
refreshments.
refreshments.
I can't, I don't know.
I don't know, another thing
I
to
don't
find
know.
out. All right, so,
In the library, when they have the artist receptions, they have
Yeah.
food in the
Oh,
gallery
they do?
room.
Oh, so there you go.
We're not talking anything fancy, it would just be
No,
simple
yeah.
drinks and
Right, drinks
cookie
and
trays or
cookies,
something, because
right.
it'll be a weekday evening. You know,
Yeah,
it's not a meal.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. But
Lobster tails? Sure.
Lobster tail cookies. All right, I'll talk to Tracy about possible venues and not knowing what size, so that we have, staggered, if we get 50 people, if we're expecting 50 or 100 or 150, what the different venues might be. And of course, I have to get the information from Mass Woods about confirming the brochures, and I think it's Wyland's Trust, I think the speakers, or sometimes it's different speakers. So I'll gather that information, you know, contact them. So for next meeting, I'll have a draft of a warrant that we can all review and see if we're making changes before I go to town administrator to finalize it. And I'll have the information on the brochures and the venues, and Lynn's gonna get some printing costs, and yeah, we may, once we get a number, you know, the mailing costs, you know, I'll try and get, sounds like you're good with the mailing, Liz, if I get you a weight and envelope size.
yeah, so I hate to break this, he might know how much they weigh. if they mailed them to people individually.
They probably
You
ship them
might
by the
know.
carton to, but they send out samples too, I would think you know. But if
Because
he
usually
doesn't,
you
I'll
take
have,
one, you throw it in an envelope, you take a piece of copy paper, you fold
If
it
not,
up,
you
you shove
gotta
it
send
in
a
there.
yeah,
sample,
I just
right?
have
And
them
you
send
throw
me a
it on a
sample. If
thing.
he can't give me the weight, send me a sample.
You run to the
and
post
I'll-
office and go, how much is it?
Yeah,
How much is the mail?
and I'll put it with
Simple.
an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper on that, and the size envelope
That
that it all
was wild.
fits.
I would think they would make them so they fit in
I wrote this
10
down, that was
envelopes, so that they can mail them.
Because, you know, 'cause
But
that
they
that
might
probably is the
not.
biggest expense is the mailing. So, and
It's
I'm
gonna be
gonna
steps.
target it on 250, but I'm gonna cost per, so if we know we go up or down from there,
Yeah.
what that means to the cost. So it's the mailing cost and the envelope cost, probably staples, just envelopes and staples, and get a cost there. So it's just cost estimate, we're not buying anything, we're not spending anything, we don't have money approved yet.
As a town committee, we should ask the finance committee for budget. No, seriously,
For a budget, yeah.
well, historical commission has $500.
I was
mean,
gonna say, having to go to town meeting for one mailing, that's why when you were like, 2,000
I
bucks.
mean, I think I would
I'm
ask
like,
for
what are you
budget for the
talking
open space committee if we're gonna do things like this, really.
Yeah.
I'll
But if
take
this
that.
is-
I talked to the finance committee.
But I mean, cause, yeah, but I mean, if we're, additionally, we're gonna need money for, other brochures and other things.
I mean, I think that as a town
different,
committee, we
but I
should
can't
have some
imagine.
kind of budget.
I mean, we're not.
For problems, for something like this.
Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, there's only little things like this that come up, and we're not
Because they
we're
don't
not
call-
buying
they-
property.
Exactly, but a working budget.
You have to have, you know, something to cover incidentals.
And if we
I can
wanna do
ask.
something
You
like
can
this,
ask.
we already know we have the money to go to Staples and buy what we need or wherever we can get it for.
Right. We could,
So,
we love.
now,
it.
does the finance committee approve that, or does that have to go
Let's do town.
to someone else?
I'm not sure. I think,
I
I think I
can-
would start at the select board and ask,
Well,
just, and
we-
talk to Tracy and ask her.
Yeah,
How would we
I can
apply
ask
for a
Tracy,
budget?
or we happen to know the
And
finance
they probably
committee
said to the
chairman.
finance committee.
He's also in the Lions, so.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So we can ask him.
Oh, there we
What's
go.
the
Yeah, I
what
would.
the process is, so.
Right. Ask them the
Either
process.
Tracy or Chris. We can
Ask
we can
Chris.
ask.
He knows,
Yeah.
he's on the FinCom. He would know. He could
Yeah,
be
what the
interested.
process is.
Right,
and-
right. Ask him what the process is.
All right, we'll check that, or, you probably see him more than I do.
Chris?
Yeah.
I do.
You wanna ask him that question?
Yeah.
Just-
Yes.
What, is it
Thank you.
possible for the open space committee to get a small budget for incidental expenses?
Right,
And what is the process to get that approved?
right.
And I assume if you don't use it, you don't use it, right? If
Right.
It's just available, like something for this, we're talking a couple
Then it
$1,000
will go back to
expense.
town funds and we get it again the next year.
Yeah. All right, it's worth checking. Because it is hard to work without having anything.
This is so old, this was our store a long
All
time ago.
right, so we got a lot of questions to try and get together for next meeting. And feed me any inputs on the priority list. We got venue, we got the cost and supplier. And if anybody thinks of anything else that we need to put this program together, you know, let me know. But I think that's a lot right there to get together for next month. Because we just need to the point that, yeah, this is all feasible and we can do it for, say, under $2,000. This is what we can do for that amount of money. And we get the warrant submitted by the April 14th after our April 3rd meeting. And if the money gets approved, we're gonna be in pretty good shape at that point. We should have almost all information, maybe another couple months to be able to send a mailing out and follow up with the presentation in the fall. I think that'll work.
Could, what are we doing as far as a list? What are your expectations?
This, if, of course, everybody has an electronic copy of it.
Right.
I'll go ahead and finish putting the chapter 61 designations in.
So a wait for that?
If you can go down the list and, depending on your knowledge of the properties, if you can say, well, there's no way, and you might not have it.
I don't.
I know, Joan, you know a lot of the properties and
Yeah.
owners, and Liz, you may too, I don't know, and
No,
or
not
Debbie.
really, no.
Because you've been around town for a while. If you know, we shouldn't be mailing them for this reason. But if it's a CR, then, you know, they didn't show up on our list,
Right.
and you know that. I mean, you know, anybody that should be off the list,
Oh,
that, you know, it doesn't apply to them. If you know, just look at the list and say, well, you know, there's, you know, here's a company and they've got, the entire parcel is all developed.
Right.
They've got 20 acres, but it's all developed. You
Right.
know, what are you gonna do?
yeah.
So, you know, that's, doesn't show up in this list yet, but if you know, or if we do some more research, we can cross things out because, you know, maybe it's a 10-acre parcel, but it's all, you know, 8 acres are used up, and it's, what are you gonna do?
Do you know how to use Google Docs? Have you ever heard of Google Docs?
No.
Okay. So I'm not great at them, but basically you can create a document like the Excel spreadsheet and then send an invitation to all of us. And we can all work on the same document.
That sounds messy.
I don't think so.
Like, I feed me the information, there's not that much to do here.
do
It's
your
chapter
James.
61, it's,
No.
feed it in, I'll put a master copy, and
Okay,
because
we're fine.
everybody starts
No, I get it.
playing in there.
I feel bad, because like the reason I created a sheet, it took all of the information, pasted it in that sheet, and then sorted it by owner, and then the name of that sheet is owner.
Mhm, yeah.
So you could take that same document, create another sheet, take all the information, paste it in that other sheet, and then sort it by something else.
You
And
just
so,
copy it.
Yeah,
You know, and then you
just
can look
make
at the
multiple
first
pages and
page.
just copy
Yeah.
onto the next sheet.
and you
know.
just look at
Or
the
you just-
first page and it's in this order, and you look
Yeah.
at the second page
No,
and it's in that
you-
order, because it makes your brain be
Yeah,
able
you-
to.
you
If
can
it's
do
in
that,
Excel, you just copy the sheet on the
Copy into
bottom.
another sheet,
Not-
and then
not-
you can sort it and label it.
I don't know
Yeah.
everything either.
But, yeah, so,
Yeah,
I mean,
do it
I think
really
we have that capability in Excel, so, you know, I'll.
'Cause then you could have all of those
Because I have the
different-
one you sent me on the sort by owners,
Yeah.
and if we want to do by address, I can add a sheet for that too.
Yeah,
It's fast,
yeah.
and then we can,
Okay.
next month, this should be fleshed out with the conservation restrictions. Any input you give me other than that, and if we can get the priority parcel IDs,
Mm-hmm.
I'll add that in too. So, the list, and
Yeah,
hopefully it'll be
Beautiful
fully,
thing.
it'll be filled out, and we can say anything that doesn't have an X on it for whatever reason is, you know, meets the criteria for the mailing, and if we're gonna do 250, yeah, that gets us down to 10, or we've got some down to
Right.
5 or 8, but they're priority parcels.
You might
Yeah.
come all the way back down to your 192.
Yeah,
No, we
yeah.
need 250.
Well,
Sorry.
yeah.
All right.
Because there's enough there to get to 250 if we really wanna hit that number. All right, anything else on the list and getting this project together? I think, if there's anything comes up in between, I just send out an email, just information, not, no back and forth of changing anything, but just to let you know, you know, what's going on.
No, I appreciate all your information,
Yeah,
Dave,
yeah,
thanks.
it's an
I will
updated
get to-
spreadsheet, so
yeah.
you can look at it and just see, because all we do is put a list together. So,
No, go
there's
to all the
nothing wrong with those
meetings.
emails. I think it's, all right, so, trying to keep it to an hour, but, so on this, is there anything else on this? I think we got a follow up on, and next month we should be in good shape. Okay? For new business, agenda item 10, you know, any correspondence or announcements we already discussed related to Simmons Hill, we had that correspondence from the planning board. Any agenda items for next meeting? Anybody aware of anything we should put on the agenda? Besides what's already on here? I had one thing I'll just throw out there. I did, another thing, looking at available properties, I looked at the Lakeville real estate listings for what's for sale. So, and there's 188, you know, and I don't think it's anything, but I think it's, as part of our responsibility, maybe we should look at it, so. I didn't, you know, I got the parcel number on it, it's 8.25 acres, it's over near Elder's Pond, but it's, you know,
Oh.
but it's across the street, you know, and it's, you know, so there's houses around it, but there's other open areas around it too. So It's for sale. So I could put it on the agenda for next meeting, just to look at it. I don't know if there's any value to the town or not. But that was the only one I saw. You know, usually you just see houses, but this was just land. And it does say it's buildable land, 8¼ acres.
It's on Elder's Pond?
No, it's on the opposite side of the street of Montgomery Street. So
Oh,
it probably would just be built into a residence, but you got, you know,
Montgomery
you
Street?
could put a few units in
is it
there.
across from the horse farm, you mean? Up the street from Elders?
Um,
Elders is kind of across the street from the shelter. and
Yeah, you go past the
municipal.
shelter and the pond. I drove by there today when I went to get the key here. And it's, if you're going with the eldest pond on your left and the shelter on your right, just a little past that, it's on the right.
So someone's cleared the corner. This is kind of along the same lines of what I was talking about when somebody has a piece of property that got frontage on the main road.
Yeah, this has a narrow front and opened up a bit. This 8¼ acres, it's not
So
huge.
this guy sold this to that guy.
I
So he
don't
could
know.
develop that piece of property because they've been fighting, because it's wet back there, so they've been fighting this for like 25 years. I live on Montgomery Street.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
So you're aware of this
So-
property?
Yeah.
So it's,
But it's just for sale because I thought,
No, it is for
no,
sale.
it's for sale, it's listed, and they're asking, you know, $250,000 for it because it's buildable. They say it's already been perked and it's buildable.
right, yeah. So that's the kind of,
Is it any interest to the town? That's what I'd like to put on the agenda for next meeting. If I can give you the parcel number if you want to take a look at it. And then we'll discuss it next meeting. I wrote it down here somewhere. Okay, it's 017-004-004-01. 8.27 acres. And it's just open land.
and so are we interested in it?
You know,
Do
that's
we
the
think we
question,
should
are
be?
we? I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. but-
Well, so I always, and this is where I struggle really hard because so that backs up to some other land.
Yeah, it
that
does. There's a
goes-
lot more open land back there.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of land all,
Yeah,
and
by different owners.
yeah, by different owners.
So
and
is
they're
this piece.
developing it in chunks, different people. And that's how we
Community
lose
gardens.
our massive open space.
8.27?
Yeah, that's
So is
probably
this
it,
piece, yeah.
And I believe from what I could see from the card that the original owner was deceased, but there was a co-owner, or maybe a
They
family
live in
member.
Norway.
They
Yeah,
live in
yeah,
Norway?
yeah,
They live in Norway.
Well, that's a big
They
problem
live
too
on
these
Montgomery
days.
Street.
So they want to sell the
Simon
property.
Berg.
So it's.
So anyway, I guess as part of our responsibilities, open land
That's
comes
interesting, yeah.
for sale in town, we should evaluate it.
Who was that
I
again?
guess that's what so that's what we should evaluate it,
Yeah,
right?
and I just happened to see this yesterday, and
Okay.
didn't have time to put it on the agenda or send out any information on it, but I'm just bringing it
All right.
up. We'll put it on the agenda for next month. I don't know if, developer could buy it, but what's he gonna do? He's gonna, with, I don't know. And of course, with 40B, you never know.
Not funny.
But if you were just building regular house lots, maybe.
I think it's
3 or 4
interesting
lots
that
in
that
there.
it doesn't have a number.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't, because there's nothing there.
Exactly.
It's just woods.
I know my land is considered rear.
That's what
Its number is 70 rear,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what a lot of our open space is rear.
rear,
And if you look at
because it's
the
landlocked.
real estate listing said 0 Montgomery Road.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So I thought it must be right on the corner.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
No.
But that's where we really lose the wildlife really loses their spaces when those chunks are
So,
developed all
Yeah, I
separately
mean,
like
there's
that.
open land in behind it, Montgomery Road, and then, but it's over to the water-owned property is, I think, a little further up, so,
Right.
maybe it's, yeah.
So maybe.
But I think we should discuss it and make a recommendation if there's value to the town that it should be looked at. The town doesn't have any money to purchase anything now.
No,
anyways.
no.
And I think, but they should be made aware that, it's available online for everybody to see, it's for sale. And I think it just went on sale recently. I forgot to notice how long it was on. I think it was recent. And I just, it was the first time I looked. So anyways, I'll add that to next agenda, if everybody wants to check it out, so we'll, and give me your opinions on whether the town would have any interest in it. Should we be preserving, look at purchasing to preserve that land, or some other conservation agent would be interested. I know there's no water on it, it's only 8 1/4 acres, but sometimes they will purchase small pro.
I had heard of
There's a sale sign on it?
No, it's listed.
Posted.
It's listed, but it's not,
No
sign on it.
No,
if I
yeah,
drive down there, I'm not gonna find a sign.
no, but if you look on the map, you see where it is. But, so maybe there's some potential, if it's, if
So,
we looked at the
looking
tie-in,
at-
maybe some other conservation trust would pick it up, because we don't have any money.
No. Again, though,
It's
yeah,
not.
it has, I mean, what is it hooked up to? I mean, if
Yeah.
it's 80.
So that's why everybody needs to look at it. I just saw it, I looked around, I don't know a lot of, you're very familiar with that area, so it might be good for you to look at it.
Why, just like wherever you live. I mean,
Yeah.
this took a lot for me to realize that when you're like just living in a house, what you need to actually do is those maps and stuff, when you come back, all of a sudden you see where the open space is, where the
Yeah.
wild lands
Yeah,
are,
so,
what's
yeah.
connected and what's just a little teeny, you
Yeah,
know,
and there is a lot
thing.
in behind this one,
Stuck in
tied
between.
into other parcels, so.
Right.
So, kind of look at it from that standpoint, is there any, potential value from a conservation standpoint? Okay, if everybody's got the number, we'll, and that was the only thing, I'll add that to the next month's agenda. If it sells before then, but we just became aware of it, and let's see, anything else for next month's agenda? All right, I think, just a reminder, we were talking about the Mass Woods webinars. I did send everybody information on that. They are pretty interesting,
Yeah.
and just hit on the link and enjoy
Yeah.
them.
It was blocked.
Just 2 more, one the end of this
No,
month
from
and one
my
next
work. I
month.
was at lunch.
And I think, just a reminder what they are.
Yeah.
The one on March 25th is reducing your property taxes and stewarding your land. That's March 25th, 6:30 to 8. The speaker from the Mass DCR and from Longview Forest. And then the last one is April 22nd, choosing a land conservation tool, which looks like a really important one. That's April 22nd, 6:30 to 8. And speaker is from the trustees of reservations.
Oh, who's the speaker?
Olivia Lukacek.
I don't know.
So anyways, if you, yeah, I did watch the first one and I scribbled down some notes. It was interesting, but the first one was just on,
So those are, I'm sorry, I missed what you were saying about the dates. So do you think
23rd.
yeah, I sent the email.
of April? Yeah, no, I didn't know. So what I was thinking is, you know how we have a town newsletter now? Wouldn't it be nice if the Open Space Committee suggests for anyone in town who's interested that Mass Woods is giving this webinar and it's this date in the town e-newsletter? You guys all signed up for the town e-newsletter?
I just saw it today. But,
I didn't sign up for it,
because I
but I
went
go
on
out
the
and look
website, I
at
saw
it.
it, but I didn't know you didn't sign up to get it.
So we could do that too, that type of thing. That's another way to make people realize what we're doing in town is to be able to direct them to the same resources that we.
So you're volunteering to take that?
I don't know, so I missed the dates, that's why I said, because she already did this month's e-news, so it would have to be for the April.
I did email this to you, but I can
You
I
did,
can
and I
send
can
it
look it
again.
up. No, but so is that a good idea? Do people think that's a good idea that I
I
suggest
mean,
that they
we're
put that into the
trying to
e-news?
inform
Yeah.
all the residents of what their options are. That's why I think it's good for the
It
committee.
didn't occur to me till just now when you were talking. I was like, why are we keeping this to ourselves? We could share this.
The
I mean-
gentleman that put his land up for sale, though, why don't we contact him about 61?
No, he's
in Norway.
deceased.
Oh, he's
And
deceased.
his-
In
Dead
Norway.
and in Norway.
The co-owner is in
Oh.
Norway, from the way I read it.
Oh, okay.
And so the co-owner, I think it's a family member, is through a
In
realty
Norway.
company is selling the
Oh, we'll
land.
take over Greenland. We can take care of that.
Good God. So anyways, yeah. But, you know, if there is, we think there's any interest for the town that it should be conserved, I can talk to the Realtor and, you know, and make contact with the Realtor. But I think first thing we have is there any interest? Is it in the town's interest to preserve that as open land? So, if everybody can take a look. We'll talk about it next month, and if it is,
Community garden.
next thing would, if determined that it is, I'll talk to the Realtor and get some more information and talk to somebody in, I don't know, who would it be, town planner or something, to let them know that we think we have potential interest in it.
I'll leave the town planner.
Town planner. So, you know, I can do that, but I think the first thing is, you know, check it out and see what you think, because maybe you're saying there's no way you're interested in that property, especially at that price. You know, but
That's not a bad
$250,000 an
price.
acre or $250,000
For eight.
for 8 acres?
For 8 and
That's
a quarter
great.
acres.
Yeah, that's a really good
That's
price.
an awesome
Yeah,
price.
it's assessed at like
And
90,000
he's-
is the assessment, land assessment.
Yeah, but, yeah.
But yeah, but market value because it's developable. It's getting late.
It is.
All right, but anyways, think about it. And I think next meeting is first Thursday in April is the 3rd. The 3rd. And anything before we close? Anything else need to be brought up? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second?
Second? Second.
Okay, second. I think we're adjourned. I think we're all in favor.